大企业千方百计都想要出现在黄仁勋背板股，那如果是黄仁勋亲口点名呢？我们来看到是黄仁勋在 GTC 台北的演讲当中，他讲了这么一句话 ：Here in Taiwan, GMI， 在台湾有 GMI， 所以 GMI 在哪里？它在背板股的这里。那它到底是哪一间公司？它到底做什么的？背后牵出的台厂供应链又有哪些？我们就要带你一一来看到了。首先，我们来讲一下 GMI Cloud 这间公司呢，它是辉达官方认证的全球 AI 算力战略伙伴。非常年轻的一间公司，成立大约4年的时间，创办人也非常的年轻，他叫做叶威霆。你可能没听过他的名字，但是他爸爸的公司你应该不陌生。瑞昱半导体，同时也是弘毅国际董事长叶嘉文，那他就是一个名副其实的半导体2代。一看到黄仁勋点名之后，他的合作厂商也就是弘毅股，在6月1号收盘就涨停，收在55.1块。那这个其实喊出了 GMI 这间公司。黄仁勋宣告的其实是背后的一个非常大的野心，非常大的理念。他说，全球将要进入的是 AI 工厂新时代。我们来先讲一下，在工厂之前讲所谓的动力，最核心的就是在 AI 算力了。我们举例来说，假设呢，如果辉达是一间非常会做锅子的公司，那 GMI Cloud 呢，它就是跟辉达买了大量的锅子之后，打造了一个高规格的中央厨房，再租给别人使用。你我都会使用的 ChatGPT， 它就是跟 GMI Cloud 它租了一个这样的中央厨房，找了明星主厨把菜做好之后端给你吃，这是我们看到的 AI 算力应用。那工厂的话，就是在 AI 算力里面当中非常重要的基础建设了。那既然说是工厂，后面牵出来的台厂应该就是一大串了，所以大家现在就说，那到底哪些会是 AI 工厂概念股呢？接下来我们就透过了产业的上中下游带你来关心。首先看到上游的部分是晶片跟先进封装，包含我们看到就有护国神山台积电，另外还有世芯 KY。那现在呢讨论的就是它的 SKL 晶片设计了。另外我们再来看到中游的部分的话，是包含了伺服器代工跟机柜整合，就会有像鸿海、广达、伟创跟微影在这一个环节。第3个，我们看到的是在散热跟电源管理，包含的就像有奇宏，还有台达电，另外还有华城。最后落实呢，包含像是网通与高速传输的部分，就会是在智邦，还有等等，包含像是绿能啊，或者是机房这些落实，后面都会有一些台厂在做合作关系。那假设，就像黄爸爸说的，有效 AI 的时代已经来临了。那一切的起点在台北开始的话，无疑当然就是在台厂供应链又添了一把烈火。以上是最新的财经资讯。
We have so much to tell you, and I have so many partners to thank. It is incredible how large our ecosystem in Taiwan has become. Most of the time, when people think about ecosystem, they think about our software stack.They think about the developer ecosystem above the computing systems that NVIDIA builds. But NVIDIA's ecosystem spans all the way upstream to all of our supply chain here in Taiwan, where it all begins, and downstream all the way to data centers and eventually to end users. Today, we're going to talk about almost all of the ecosystem. There are so many people to thank. I love my ecosystem here.I mean, there are so many companies here, and some of my favorite ecosystem partners. So many. Taiwan's rich ecosystem, the richest ecosystem, the world's best supply chain ecosystem. Unbelievable. Well, thank you all for being here. And this year, our businesses together are growing incredibly. In fact, somebody told me last night that the annual GDP of Taiwan is going to grow almost 10%. Unbelievable. Well, we have a lot to talk about. Let's get going. 2 years ago when I was here, I started to talk to you about how AI has moved from generative AI and the other waves of AIs that are coming. The next wave of AI was agentic AI. And today, we can say that agentic AI has arrived, that useful AI has arrived. Now, what does this mean? This is GitHub. This is, of course, one of the first applications of agentic AI is software coding, one of the most valuable professions. Incredibly large ecosystem, 30 million, 40 million professional software developers, probably another couple of hundred who are students and enthusiasts and so on and so forth. But say 30, 40 million software developers in the world code for a living. And this represents most of them. This is GitHub. The pull request is when they download software, they modify it, and commit is when they push it back up. Okay, and so if you could look at this, in 2023, the number of commits was 300 million. 2024, 400 million. 2025, 500 million commits. In the first few months of 2026, it has nearly tripled. Now, what does that mean? 30 million software developers representing about $3 trillion worth of GDP, producing that's what they're paid, $3 trillion worth of salaries per year, which is generating economic growth for the rest of the industries. Say $100 trillion of the world's industries is generated by $3 billion worth of salary. That $3 trillion worth of salary is now producing nearly 3 times as much output. It's effectively a $9 trillion productivity from $3 trillion of salaries. Does that make any sense? The difference is absolutely extraordinary. This is the potential. This is the promise of AI. The number of engineers, software engineers, is actually increasing. People talk about AI reducing jobs. Complete nonsense. It's causing more software engineers to be hired, and the reason for that is very simple. If you can hire a software engineer and you could generate $9 trillion worth of productive work, why wouldn't you want to hire more software engineers? If that line was flat, then obviously people will hire fewer software engineers. But because the output is so incredible, people want to hire more software engineers. This is going to show up in our economy somehow soon. And so the first thing is useful AI has arrived. Now, what does that mean from the industry's perspective? From the industry's perspective, that means that tokens are now in extraordinary demand. Because if you could do this, you're going to want to produce more of it. And because tokens are now profitable units, tokens are now profitable units of revenues. Because it is now profitable, the AI companies want to build a lot more tokens, generate a lot more tokens, build more AI factories, which is the reason why compute demand here in Taiwan has skyrocketed. It is precisely the reason why all of you are so busy and your businesses are doing so well. In fact, that looks like some of your stock price. The compute pattern has changed. Everything has changed. So the first idea is that useful AI has arrived. AI is now a profit generator. AI is now a GDP generator. Behind it is a whole new kind of computing pattern. Not just a large language model, but an agent. Today, almost everything we're going to talk about is going to be based on this. So let me take a quick moment and show you what I'm talking about. This is an agent. It's an agent application. In the old days, this would be application, this would be code, and this would be operating system. Application, code running inside an application, inside an operating system. Today, it is agent, which consists of a large language model or many sitting inside a harness, and that harness helps it, orchestrates it to do productive work. This is the input. When that input comes, it has to understand, observe, reason, act, use tools. That tool could be a spreadsheet, web browser, a data processing engine, database engine, for example. This is orchestrated, this harness orchestrate this routing of information every single time it touches either processing the context, understanding what is happening, reasoning about what to do, coming up with a plan that it acts on. That orchestration path is orchestrated by some software. And so this is fundamentally an agent. It deals with short-term memory, called working memory, long-term memory, just like we do, we have long-term memory. And so the memory management system is incredibly important. This entire system is called an agent. The large language model is used to do the thinking, and the harness connects everything together, just like an operating system, okay? And so this is the new computing model, and this is what an agent. It could do incredible things. This is the big breakthrough. The simultaneous convergence of large language models that are now able to do a really good job thinking, reasoning, planning, using tools, and the fact that we have now these harnesses that manages memory, the orchestration, uses tools, we can now do amazing things. Let me give you some example. This is a prompt. This is the prompt. This is the code that is generated, and this comes out. This is the input. This is the input, and that's the output. What do you guys think? It's pretty amazing, right? We use Claude Code here, but Codex does an incredible job as well. Here's another example. This is the input. Create a GIF, NVIDIA green dots on black scatter, form Taiwan 101 building, morph to GTC Taipei 2026, morph to NVIDIA I logo, then scatter and repeat, right? So you saw that. That was the prompt. Here's the next one. I lost my remote control battery clip. It looks like this. Create a CAD file. It uses a tool, create a CAD file, ready for 3D printing to create a new one. Make sense? This is now the new computing pattern. Whereas we used to launch an application, click and type, we now replace that with explaining to the AI what we want, our intent, and the AI generates the code or uses tools and produce the necessary output. This is how computers are going to work in the future. This is agentic AI. For 2 years, we've been building towards this, and now it has arrived. Now, one of the big breakthroughs, of course, is tool use. A lot of people have said, you know, Jensen, AI is coming, agentic AI is coming, therefore all of the software companies are going to go out of business. I said, it's exactly the opposite. Because there are going to be so many agents, the world is no longer limited by the number of people. Therefore, those agents are going to use more tools than ever. This is actually an incredible time to be a software company. But the software has to be presented to the agent in a way that the agent can use it. This is a big breakthrough. And in fact, what we have done, as you know, what NVIDIA's treasure is all of our CUDA libraries. I call them CUDA-X libraries. This is NVIDIA's treasure. Today, we're able to now present these CUDA-X libraries to agents who can use it much more effectively than even humans. And so this is a wonderful time for CUDA-X libraries. Let's take a look. 20 years ago, we built CUDA, a single architecture for accelerated computing. We reinvented computing. 1,000 CUDA-X libraries help developers make breakthroughs in every field of science and